Sorry. I'm slightly allergic to peanuts, and whenever I eat peanuts, I start coughing, but I like peanuts, so it's like a game of Risk I play.
You are listening to Freshly Squeezed.
You come to a point where, like, myself and maybe another lad in the band, we weren't so happy with the direction of the band at the time.
Amazingly, it has been a week since the last time we spoke, but here we are again. I'm Jim, and this is your essential guide to the best new music, freshly squeezed. But you know what? It's a good job that it is time to showcase once again another bunch of the best new bands and artists around, because there is so much quality music to feature. Thank you for your recommendations. Thank you for your emails. You can keep them coming in. Best way is to find me on social, Mr_Jimbob on Twitter, or Jimbob's Eyes on Instagram. Go there, get in touch, or leave a comment in your podcasting app. But so much good stuff on today's show, so much good stuff to come, and that is in the shape of super talented musical up-and-comer Riley Marsh.
Hey, do you love me? I wanna say I'm sorry, but I can't.
The emerging Wiganers, The Apostles.
Say what you wanna say what you wanna say now. Now you know we're here to stay.
And a brand new tune from the always raucous Alias Kid. If you are a regular squeezy and you've not yet subscribed to the podcast, get that done. Also, make sure you tell a mate. I know it's a cool thing, this being our little secret, our little new music hideout together, but the more people listen to this podcast, the better it is for the new bands that are featured, so please do spread the word. Okay, time to feature the first band on today's podcast. That band is Alias Kid, and Maz from AK is on for a chat. How is life in the Alias Kid camp at the moment, mate?
It seems to be the same as always, just chopping and changing. So last I heard, we've still got 5 members, and they're all okay, I think.
Right, just about keeping in touch. The main reason I ask that is not the lineup change. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it's more because I keep on seeing Sean, who, for those who don't know, part of the Alias Kid setup. He's on Instagram a lot at the moment, and he's been working with Alan McGee at Creation, and they've obviously been involved in the Oasis tour. Loads of backstage pictures, loads of hanging out with Ashcroft, loads of swanning around in the VIP area. I want to know roughly how many texts you get off him on a daily basis at the moment, just telling you tales of life on the road.
Oh, he knows I'm not interested. You don't send it me. No, but with the Oasis thing, I mean, I don't know how much you know about Sean's history. We were in a band with Bonehead for a few years. Right,
I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, before Alias Kid. So we did some Battle of the Bands in our old band, and Bonehead was a judge with Mike Joyce and someone else who I can't remember.
Okay.
So we didn't win, but Bonehead wanted us to win, basically. So I think Mike Joyce didn't want us to win. So we didn't win, but Bonehead said he'd come on stage with us and do a gig. And then he ended up joining the band. He just joined, and he took us around, toured around Europe, all over Germany, France, Holland. Yeah, just all over the place. And he drove the van, Bonehead, to be fair. He's a proper grafter. Yeah, I messaged him about it, and he's buzzing, obviously, because it's that's where he really wanted to be, I suppose. And he didn't want to be in a band with me. He wanted to be in Oasis. So.
Well, he's been the one that's talked about it for years, hasn't he? Well, the brothers have been kicking off. He's been like, never say never. It might happen at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the full story. I've not spoke to him or anyone about it properly, but I've heard there's been things said on stage about how by Noel or Liam or someone about how Bonehead got it all back together. He was the one who was like the mediator or whatever. But I don't know if it's. I don't know. I'm not in the know. I've not asked him about it, but yeah. So Sean, but also on the other side of it, we're obviously been signed by Alan McGee. So
yeah,
Sean's knocking about with McGee and Creation because Cast are on there. And that's one of Creation's bands. So Sean's like working with Creation as well as being an Alias Kid.
It's good that the adventures of Sean hasn't derailed the Alias Kid project, because you have got new music out, Always on My Mind, latest single. Is this being billed as a return for the band? What's different this time around?
Well, I mean, we've rehearsed without Sean, so that's one thing. It's, but no, it's different in the sense of, I suppose, although Always on My Mind, we work with more the old lineup, not the new lineup, but it's kind of like that's the last one of that list, and now we're working with Tyson Black Grape Neil So he's producing that stuff at the minute. He's mixing and producing stuff. Tony's still involved as well. He's the old guitarist. He still gets involved on the production side as well. But we're working a lot with Neil. So that's kind of what's happening now. We've got like, I don't know how many songs. Seems like everyone in the band's a songwriter now. So they're always down at his place recording. Like every week I get a message saying, can you send some money? We all have to pay money. I guess that's the new thing, really. It's all, we've just had the latest one back from Abbey Road, which will be out in September. That's been mastered there. Yeah, it's just loads and loads of singles. So I reckon probably I'll die before we release them all, I imagine.
With the new tune that we're going to play on Freshly Squeezed, I thought there was a slight musical change to it. Previously, I've always heard a little bit of 90s Manchester in your music, and I think this leans more on the 70s maybe. There's a bit of a feel of the Ramones about it. How does it look from here? With the new members coming in, does that change that again, or is this very much the Alias Kid Rose map at the moment?
You know, we've just always been a band who we never set ourselves to be anything. If we liked a song, we did it. Because, you know, not to compare yourself with the greatest bands, but like we never thought the Beatles just did one sort of song, you know? So, you know, why should anyone? If they're the biggest band of all time and they can do it, then so can we. And we were just in rehearsal and we started jamming and then got some words over it. And I thought it sounded a bit Green Day, to be honest. But
okay.
I don't know. I mean, it's just what came out. The next one that comes out, She Got the Gun in September, that sounds like Oasis to me. So like, you know, and then after that, we've got one that sounds a bit like the Killers. So, you know, it's just whatever comes out. I don't think we can really sort of hang our hat on any sort of style anymore. Yeah, Ramones make Sean happy. He likes the Ramones. So
this might be a bit of a random thing to say, but it might prove really intuitive or it might prove completely wrong. But when I heard this tune for the first time, it kind of felt instantly familiar. It felt like something I'd heard before, but then somehow I'd forgotten, if that makes sense. It feels like, and I might be wrong, like I say, it feels like it would have come together really quickly for you guys in the studio. It feels like one of those tunes that would have just flowed. I mean, like I say, I might be massively wide of the mark there, but is that the case?
No, you're spot on, actually. Like we, in terms of the melody and the music, the melody and the music came together in 10 minutes. So we were rehearsing, and then we got this like, I suppose it was me because I was singing, but it could have been someone else who's got this one line always on my mind. And then we'd actually been booted off a festival years ago by the promoter because they wanted to put an Elvis impersonator on instead. So I went away and I decided to write lyrics that were basically the same lyrics as Always on My Mind. I know Elvis didn't write it, but you know. So if you listen to the lyrics in the tune, they kind of mirror that. And then we sort of played on the Always by sort of making it 2 words, so it's got a little double entendre in there. But you know, it did come together really fast in terms of the music. But lyrically, it was a bit more contrived because we were trying to sort of get back at this person, I suppose, in some way.
We'll listen out for that in a moment when we play it on the podcast. I want to fact check something with you because I heard, and this is from a really early interview with you guys, that Alias Kid started because you and Sean thought that your mates were staying in too much and you wanted to get them out more, so you thought you'd start a band and put on some gigs. Is that a fact? Is that true?
That is true. Because we'd been in this other band with Boner. We never thought we'd top that, ever. Because, you know, he was one of our heroes and a great guy and all that. And then Sean was like going around town in cowboy boots playing acoustic tracks at like acoustic gigs. And I was like, what are you doing, mate? So we ended up saying, right, we'll do a band because there's only me and Sean going out anymore. Everyone else was just like doing nothing. So we started playing down the Juicy Bridge. I don't know if you remember that pub. We just thought, right, it's a tiny little venue. We get 100 people in there. We'll just have a party and we'll play like 9 or 10 songs and then maybe get the acoustic out and do some covers if people like it, you know, like you do around in your kitchen on a Friday night. Yeah, so it's true. And then, but then McGee said, come over and play this gig in Liverpool. That he was like fronting some gig in Liverpool. And we'd known him because in the old band, we'd gone and played Notting Hill. So we hadn't met him through Bonehead. We met him separately through playing this venue down in Notting Hill. So he said, come and play. And he'd always loved Sean McGee. He'd always got on with him really well. They're like, them two are like peas in a pod, really. But yeah, we went over and McGee said to me a couple of years later, he said he thought it was going to be just a car crash. He thought it was just going to be a disaster on stage. And we went on and he said it was actually mint. So he came and watched us in our third gig at the Juicy Bridge back there and signed us. So, you know, we weren't really looking for anything. We'd given up given up on that. But yeah, he signed us and then we got on with signed up to Cherry Red and we went up and recorded with a guy from Teenage Fan Club, recorded our album up there in Scotland. So, wow. You know, it was pretty whirlwind, really.
It's a hell of a story for something that started off as a way to get your mates out.
Yeah, And now, do you know what? Now they all stay in again. We struggle to get them out now. There's no way we'll get them out now. They're all too old now.
Maz, pleasure to speak to you as always. Nice one. We're going to get Always on My Mind on Freshly Squeezed. We'll keep an ear out for the Elvis references as well, but nice one for coming on.
Cheers, Jim. Have a good one.
Maybe I treat you just fine. You're always on my mind. Babe, I love you all the time. You're always on my mind, alright. Always on my mind. Little things said, done, you know. So many, always on my mind. So let's go. I hold you in lonely times. You're always on my mind. Say I'm happy that you're mine. You're always on my mind, alright. Always on my mind. Keep you so satisfied, you know. So many, always on my mind. So let's go.
So that is brand new from Alias Kid, and it sounds like there is loads more music on the way very, very soon. So keep your ears open for that. More from Freshly Squeezed after this word from our sponsors.
Why not come to Wigan? Nestled neatly betwixt the sprawling metropoli of Manchester and Liverpool lie the glittering jewel of the north, Wigan. No, despite what the name suggests, not everybody wears wigs here. As you'll remember from school, it was made infamous by George Orwell, who once popped in for a sandwich and never quite recovered. However, it was another dish of the working man that brought it fame, the pie. Wigan is rightly famous for its pies, with a filling for every palate. Meat and potato, meat and cheese, meat and gravy, and the local favourite, meat and meat. But this town is more than the humble pie. It's the pie. Yes, the pier has become the stomping ground of northern soul, with thousands of winkle pickers shuffling furiously at the casino. And then, dear listener, a floppy-haired minstrel by the name of Dickie Ashcroft led a troupe called the Vervet, striding dynamically down the musical high street. But hot on his heels came Stair Sailor, noble mariners of melody, assuring us that when times were hard, the good souls would see us through. Though in Wigan, a good soul rather refers to one who shares their pasty. Let us not forget the jangly jesters of the Lathams. Writing choruses so chirpily infectious, the NHS will put you back in lockdown. Songs like Fight On and I'll Get By have been adopted by local pensioners as motivational anthems for tackling the big hill up to High Hall. Today, Wigoon's tradition is stronger than ever. So why not come to Wogan, where the past, the pies, and the power chords collide. So don't pull your hair out sitting at home. Get your wig on for Wigan.
And why wouldn't you want to visit the mighty Wigan, if for nothing else than to check out our next band, The Apostles? How you doing, boys?
All good, are you?
Yeah, really good. So I ask this question to all Wigan bands that I speak to because there's something weird going on in that town. So then when I say weird, I mean something special. Given the size of the town, it seems to pump out a disproportionate amount of quality indie bands. And I'm classing you guys in that, obviously. What do you put it down to? What is it about Wigan that means, A, that genre of music, but that quantity of music is coming out of that part of the world?
I just think in general it facilitates bands coming through. Like there's enough recording studios, but just by chance really, not because Wigan's done it on purpose. It's just how it is.
There's not really anything to do either, is there?
No, and
There's
that,
nothing else.
would be an outlet for people to do as well, you know. But it's hard to say, like, because of how well it's produced over the last years, we're like, it's still at the bottom of the pile of it all because it's just, the quality is unbelievable.
It's funny. It reminds me of, there was a period of time where all the great table tennis players in the UK came from like a 30-mile area. And it feels like Wigan's kind of in that space at the moment. A few of the bands that I talked to have put it down to kind of an element of community, an element of support amongst the musicians and the bands that are working up there, that rather than kind of competing for the same spaces, it feels like you're all in it together and you're all trying to lift each other up. Do you feel that as a band?
Yeah, you definitely champion the other bands, everyone else along with you. You know, the likes of the Lilacs, we're all buzzing for them because they're absolutely smashing it at the minute. And, you know, there's no like sort of competition, if you like. It's more when you see someone doing good, you kind of,
Yeah, you're helping each other along, aren't you?
and you get the likes of Casino Club as well, who are doing
Special shout out to the Lilacs as well, because when we first did the Isle of Wight, they was headlining the tent that we were playing as well, and they give us a shout out pretty much out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
And we was absolutely buzzing by it.
They've helped us a lot, Lilacs, to be fair.
Well, we'll come back to the Lilacs in a minute because there is something coming up with them in the future. But let's talk about the new single, What You Want to Say. It feels like this is a step forward from what's come before, particularly when you compare it to the last single, which was, it felt very Manchester, big indie choruses, Johnny Marr guitar and all that kind of thing. This feels much more stylized, and even though it's different to what's come before, this is a weird thing to say, but it feels like it's got more of you as a band on it. Did it come from the same sessions as what's come before, and has there been a conscious change in what you're doing?
You know what? It actually come from a bit of a debate from the band, I'd say. It come to a point where, like, myself and maybe another lad in the band, we weren't so happy with the direction of the band at the time. And it just took a debate. It weren't like an argument or anything. It was just an honest discussion to say, like, you know, what the direction of the band. And we went in a different style from how we'd normally write a song. It was Ian, the bassist, who come up with the initial
Music to it.
And then obviously everyone then followed his bass line. That's just how it come about.
I think it's kind of reminiscent of Take It All, like our single a few years ago. It's kind of like alludes to that a bit musically, I think, because it's a bit eerie, I think, but it's also like quite big. I think it's more melodic though. I think it's quite melodic all the way through.
So you're gearing up for the launch of the new EP at the moment. The tune forms part of that EP. Is that an indication of the style that you're going in for that release, or is it going to kind of be a mix of the old and the new on that?
It's a mix. This one's kind of like, the other ones are more kind of a summer feel to them. You've got our last single, Gimme Feeling, that's also on the EP, and the others are more like upbeat, and then this one was more, it was to like finish the EP. And it was meant to be, you know, kind of a nice way to end it, a really, like a statement, if you like.
Like a hint of what's to come next?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, possibly. Depends how it goes down.
Yeah, it depends how well it goes down.
How's the EP shaping up? What can you tell us at this stage? Title, dates, anything like that? What's locked in?
Got a title, haven't we?
We've got a title. The title is Here to Stay. And we've not really got, is it? We've not
set a date. We've got the artwork sorted now. We're just trying to, it's just a few little bits now. We're just trying to organise it. We've been trying to sort it because obviously, you know, self-funding band can be a bit hard, but we've been trying to sort it, and we're nearly there now. We're just a few little official things now to do.
It's a good mix of songs we've put together that are similar to what we've released before. Like Rob was saying, there's definitely a summer song in there. There's like a, what's Always Sometimes, which is a different beat completely.
That kind of it's its own thing.
That's like sits in the middle of the summer song and the song we've just released.
Yeah.
You've got a really nice mix of different songs on the EP, which I think is going to do well.
Which decision or what type of decision is the most difficult to make as a band when you're putting an EP together? Is it the tracks that go on it? Is it the title? Is it the artwork? Here's how I imagine it. I might be completely miles off here, but I imagine because you've all worked on the songs together, that's what you do as your bread and butter. You kind of get a vibe for what's going to work as a band together. Whereas artwork is something that's a little bit alien, a little bit different. And I imagine there's so many different opinions as to what makes the cut.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. Because I think with the songs, that's our forte. We write songs. So that's just us picking amongst ourselves what we think fits well. Whereas artwork, we've got a way we want it to look, but obviously we're not specialists in making it, so everyone's got like an opinion on that.
We're certainly not graphic designers.
Yeah, we're definitely not graphic designers. We've got to go in.
But we give it a go. Exactly, we give it a good try.
You mentioned the Lilacs a minute ago, and you got big support coming up with the Lilacs in the future as well. O2 Academy, 21st of February, beginning of next year. How do you approach those shows? Do you see that as an opportunity to learn from a band that are maybe a couple of steps ahead of you, a little bit further down the track in terms of development? Or is your focus when you go into that, you go in going, let's do our own thing. this is about reaching new people, finding new fans?
Sitting on the fence there, but I'd say a bit of both.
It is.
really.
It is
It
definitely.
really is, because you want to put your own stamp on it, but at the same time, you don't want to be as arrogant enough to say like, well, we don't want to follow in their footsteps as such. You know, it's massive for us.
There's definitely a lot you can take off them. You know how they handle the gigs and stuff like that. There's loads, but yeah, there is the element of we do want to put our own thing and, you know, get some new fans along the way, because it's a big opportunity for us, you know, the O2 Academy. So we can get a few new listeners, then that's perfect for us.
Before we go, belated congratulations on being Soccer 6 champions this year. That's coming from a
Yeah, thank you very much.
that's coming from a beaten semi-finalist in the Manchester event in 2024, by the way. But you played against some decent names in this year's tournament. The Darkness, Carl from The View had a team in there. The Claws were playing as well. Was there any temptation to kind of just be a little bit nice to these bands? Maybe give them an easy goal, grease the wheels for future collaborations or support slots? Or were you in it to win it from the start?
It was the players we brought with us.
Yeah,
Right,
we played. We brought about 5 guitar techs. We brought roadies, and we had about 7 roadies who just happened to be unbelievable at football. Who'd have thought?
Sounds like you might get your title stripped off you in the future.
I know.
Or banned from next year anyway. Boys, lovely to speak to you. Good luck for the EP when it comes. I'm excited to hear what's on it. But cheers for coming on Freshly Squeezed.
Nice one, Jim.
James, thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
How many times did you see what you wanna believe through fear? But things aren't what they really seem. And you know what it takes. Not everything that you say is enough, and your faith just won't give or take. We're in a cyclone of change. When the thunder beats down, it's your pride and greed will crumble to the sea. Or did you really learn from your own mistakes? Or did you let the past creep up again? Turn it around, no, it's only you that I see in my rearview mirror. Lights around me. When the engine turns on, I'll always hear the tune that we played in your car, and it goes something like, say what you wanna say what you wanna say now. Now you know we're here to stay. In time I'll try to
Good that, innit? Links to that new one from The Apostles, along with every band featured on Freshly Squeezed in the podcast description, including the Freshly Squeezed house band Spin Class, who provide our awesome theme tune and are well worth checking out. It's also where you'll find out more about Riley Marsh, but not before we hear from him, so welcome to Freshly Squeezed, mate.
Hello.
19 years old, Riley, which is still pretty fresh out of the box. Where exactly did your musical journey start? How young were you when you started thinking about singing, writing songs, playing guitar, that kind of thing?
I actually don't remember when it started. I was a drummer originally, and I had a drum kit that used to be my great granddad's. And I used to just hit that whenever I felt like it, I guess. And that translated into getting a guitar and getting all sorts of random instruments and stuff. And it's all come together to form this sort of nice. I can play instruments and I can write songs. So yeah, it's good.
I'm guessing then you come from a reasonably musical family. If your granddad was a drummer, there's some kind of musical heritage there.
Well, he's the only musician in the family that I know of. So my parents aren't musical. They're artists, but they're not musical. So it's kind of sort of skipped a couple generations, I guess, and landed on me.
So you're a solo artist now, but previously you've played with a band called The Collide.
Yeah.
What was it that made you want to make that change and go from being in a band setup to doing something on your own?
Well, I've always done my own stuff, and then obviously I started the band with The Collide, and that took its course, as bands do. We all went off to different universities and stuff. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep going. I don't want to stop playing music, so I'll keep going on my own. And I've had all these songs sort of in the bank, if you know what I mean, just ready to go. So yeah, I've started releasing them, started doing my own stuff, and it's going really well.
How have you found the creative process different between playing with a load of other people and kind of different opinions to manage, and that kind of creative melting pot to doing something on your own where ultimately you can decide what happens and no one can argue with you?
It's good and bad. Sometimes it's nice to write on your own sometimes, but then you feel like, is this even a good song? Am I writing a good song right now? So sometimes I do have to go to people and say, do you think this sounds good, or can you work on this with me? But there's ups and downs to it.
I'm delighted to confirm that Castles Made of Sand is a good song. You'll be pleased to hear that. It's got a bit of a retro feel to it as well. A touch of 90s in there, but it kind of goes further back. Some classic rock and roll sensibilities in there as well, I guess. What inspires the direction of your tunes? Is it what you're listening to? Have you just kind of spotted an avenue you want to go in? What's feeding into that?
Yeah, usually just whatever I'm listening to at the time. I mean, 90s stuff is my main influence, I guess, especially like Jeff Buckley and that sort of alt rock, grungy almost scene. But also, yeah, I love like Led Zeppelin and Cream and like Bob Dylan, folk artists, stuff like that. I think it's a good mix of stuff coming together to form that sound.
It's interesting you mentioned Led Zeppelin, because around 2 minutes into this tune, there's a little gear shift that I absolutely love. It goes from, like I say, the classic rock and roll thing with the 90s filter on it to loses the catchy hook and kind of breaks into this really grungy kind of swirling rock bit. This is the bit of the song I mean. Where did that come from? Because what was in your head when you were writing it? Because I'm assuming you sat down, wrote this on an acoustic or something like that. But I can't imagine that part of the song coming to life on an acoustic. Was it something that formed later? Maybe we were in the studio, or was it always there in your head?
At the time of writing this song, I was listening to the song Grace by Jeff Buckley quite a lot. And there's a part in that song which uses that first chord that I play in that section. And I thought I'd just take that bit and sort of squeeze it into this song. You were right, it didn't come in first. That section came in later on once I started playing it on electric guitar with a drummer and a bass player. But I thought it fits really well. I think it's quite an unexpected thing, but it fits nicely.
That's what I love about it. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. You're not, it kind of, because the song has this kind of nice little melody that chugs through it. It feels, I won't say formulaic because it doesn't feel formulaic, but it kind of feels like you know where you're at with it, and then suddenly you're snapped out of that and moved somewhere else. I think it's a really nice moment. I can't vouch for this because you are a brand new artist on my radar, but I understand that this tune is a little bit of a musical diversion from what has come before for you.
Yeah.
If someone goes back and listens to your previous stuff, your back catalogue, what differences are they going to notice, and why have you kind of made this change at this point?
Well, they're going to notice a lot of my earlier stuff is a lot slower, more acoustic, and I think like my new stuff from Castles Made of Sand to a lot of, if you watch me live, you'll hear a lot of new songs as well. I think the writing's a lot more mature, and I've been using more electric guitar stuff, and like we were saying, then with that song, I like adding unexpected things to sort of keep the listener like aware in the song that there's actually a song going on, kind of thing. So yeah, you'll notice it sort of a change from more of a folk singer-songwriter to kind of alt rock, full band kind of sound.
I know you've played a few festivals this year, including Why Not Festival. Has it been more fun kind of playing the bigger tunes now you've got them in your back catalogue than it was maybe before, when it was maybe a bit more stripped back?
Yeah, it's definitely been more fun. I like doing acoustic stuff, but definitely at festivals, it's hard to get that intimate feel with the crowd. So it's nice to have a full band and have a big sound coming out.
Speaking of live dates, not that long ago, you supported the K's when they played in your neck of the woods in Nottingham Rock City, I think it was. What kind of insight does it give you in terms of what you need to do as an artist to be successful, seeing those lads play live and kind of supporting them, and then seeing them recently bag their first #1 album with Pretty on the internet? It's
a lot of, they've been grafting for a while, haven't they? They came through the same sort of, I guess, I think it was through This Feeling, which in my old band, we were doing that as well. And I'm starting to do that myself. So it sort of tells me that it takes a while, but once you get there, it's sweet when you get there. So yeah, a lot of patience, I think.
Overnight success, a decade in the making. That's how that works.
Definitely.
Nice one, Riley. Really nice to meet you. Good luck with it all. I'm sure we're going to speak again down the line, but for now, we're going to play your brand new tune, Castles Made of Sand, on Freshly Squeezed.
Thank you very much.
I could build a castle made of sand. I would let you live inside it. But what if it collapsed? I don't want your blood on my hands. Am I building it too heavy? The walls are cracking, I still feel trapped, like the person in my head is too obsessed with the words you said. Hey, do you love me? I wanna say I'm sorry, but I can't. Like anybody really wants to help me understand.
show, isn't it? Find some of the best new music in the UK and beyond, chat to the people who make it, enjoy the new stuff. Job done, really. If you like it, make sure you're following the podcast now wherever you listen, as there's plenty more to come. And for that matter, there's plenty in the back catalogue as well. So if you are new to Freshly Squeezed, spin back. You'll find that every week there's a handful of new bands. And although they are talking about their latest tunes in those podcasts, that stuff doesn't age. There's bound to be a band that you've never heard of before lurking on one of the old podcasts. And who knows, they could turn out to be your next favourite band. That's what we do. Okay, cheers to your ears. See you next week.
Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Salveson. Sound design and additional production by Ant McKinley. Theme music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class. This episode featured the vocal talents of Dan Mellins Cohen. Also featured is the track Wagon Wheel by Kevin MacLeod under Creative Commons License 4.0. Find his music and more at incompetech.com. With special thanks to the town of Wigan.
Today, Wagoon's tradition is... no, I can't. But why is tradition so fucking hard to say in a Bolshevik? Tradition. Tradition. It is most... I'm putting you on pause for a minute while I figure this out.